All right, so you're building an off-grid system. You're looking at all these inverters online, and they're all promising huge power. But what do those numbers on the spec sheet actually mean? Well, today, we're going to cut right through all that marketing fluff to figure out what truly matters for building a system that's not just powerful, but safe and reliable. Let's dive in.
You know, it's a question that trips up so many people. You see two inverters, both have 1,000 watts plastered on the box in big, bold letters. But one can start up your fridge just fine, and the other one just can't. So, what gives? That, my friends, is the gap between marketing and reality, and it's exactly what we are going to unpack today.
First up, we've got to find our way through what I like to call the inverter marketing maze. This is where companies throw all these flashy features at you to get your attention, but they often bury the details that really tell you how the thing is going to perform. Our mission here is to learn how to see right through it.
And this slide right here really nails it. On the left, you've got those shiny claims. They sound amazing, right? But on the right, those are the questions a real system designer needs to be asking. 1,000 watts. Okay, but for how long? And at what efficiency? And the big one, what does that actually mean for the power being ripped out of my batteries? That's where the story really begins.
Okay, so let's shift gears from the problem to the solution. If you want to build a system that's tough and reliable, you have to learn to ignore the marketing noise and focus on what I call the core four. These are the four specs that really dictate how your inverter is going to behave in the real world.
And here they are: surge capacity, continuous efficiency, idle power draw, and waveform quality. I promise you, if you get these four right, you are way ahead of the game. You'll be on your way to designing a system that not only works, but is safe and built to last. So let's break them down one by one.
First up, surge capacity. This one is absolutely essential. It's the inverter's muscle, its ability to handle that massive, brief burst of power that a motor needs to get started. Think about the compressor in your fridge or a water pump. If your inverter doesn't have the surge capacity, it's just going to trip and shut down right when you need it most.
Next, we have continuous efficiency. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like gas mileage for your inverter. If it's 90% efficient, it means for every 100 watts it pulls from your batteries, only 90 are actually making it to your appliance. The other 10 watts, they're just wasted as heat. And wasted power is wasted battery life. Simple as that.
Ooh, now for a sneaky one: idle power draw. This is the phantom power the inverter sips just by being on, even when you're not running anything at all. It's a silent 24/7 drain on your batteries. A high idle draw can slowly bleed your system dry, especially if you're away for a few days. It's a real killer.
And last but not least, waveform quality. Just think of pure sine wave as clean, smooth, high-quality power. It's exactly what you get from the grid. And it's what all your sensitive electronics like laptops and modern TVs are designed to run on. Cheaper inverters make a choppy, modified sine wave, which is basically like feeding your expensive electronics a diet of junk food. It might work for a while, but you're risking damage over the long haul. Okay, so understanding those four specs, that's half the battle. Now we need to get practical. We have to do the single most important calculation in off-grid system design. We need to translate the AC watts your coffee maker uses into the DC amps your batteries actually have to pump out.
And this is the mental shift you have to make. Forget the watts on the front of the box for a second. That's the AC output. What really matters for safety and design are the amps being pulled on the DC input side, from your batteries through your wires and fuses. That's the number that can get you into trouble.
So how do we figure that out? Well, the math is actually pretty simple. You start with your appliance load, say a 1,000-watt microwave. You divide that by your battery voltage. Let's pretend we're on a 48-volt system. Then, and this is the part almost everyone forgets, you have to divide it again by the inverter's efficiency, say 90%, to account for that power being lost as heat. So what does that give us?
Boom, 23.1 amps. That's not a theoretical number. That is the actual real-world current that your batteries, your wires, and your fuses have to handle safely every single second that microwave is running. But hang on, what about that surge we talked about? If a pump needs a 2,000-watt kick to get started, you do the same math, and suddenly that current jumps to over 46 amps. For that brief moment, your entire DC system is under enormous stress, and it has to be built to handle it without melting. And that brings us to something that is just critically important: the hidden safety risks. When you overlook these core specs and calculations, it's not just about poor performance. They can become these silent system killers that create very real, very serious hazards. The number one risk, without a doubt, is fire.
If you size your wires based on the appliance watts instead of those much higher DC amps we just calculated, those wires can get dangerously hot. This isn't just a theory, it is one of the main causes of fires in DIY electrical systems.
And your fuses and breakers, they're your safety net. They're your last line of defense. If they're not rated for those DC currents, both continuous and surge, they'll either pop when they shouldn't, or way worse, they won't pop when they should, which can lead to a fried inverter or even a catastrophic battery failure.
And let's not forget our silent battery drain. Ignoring a high idle draw is basically like having a tiny, slow leak in your car's gas tank. You might go to bed thinking you have a full battery, and you wake up to find it's mysteriously empty, leaving you in the dark.
Finally, grounding. This is absolutely non-negotiable. It's just a safety wire that connects the metal case of your inverter to the earth. If something inside ever goes wrong and the case becomes live with electricity, the ground wire gives that current a safe path to go, tripping a breaker and, more importantly, preventing you from getting a nasty, dangerous shock.
So, as we start to wrap this up, I really want you to start thinking about this a little differently. Your job isn't just to go buy a box off a shelf. Your real job is to think like a system designer. It's to create a balanced, safe, and fully integrated system where every single piece is chosen to work together.
This quote right here really says it all. This isn't about memorizing a bunch of numbers or becoming an electrical engineer. It's about learning how to translate what's on that spec sheet into real-world results, into a system that's safe, that's reliable, and that works the way you expect it to.
And that's really the final question I want to leave you with. As you're planning your own project, or maybe looking over the system you already have, just ask yourself this. Is this thing designed based on marketing hype, or is it truly designed for real-world reliability and safety? Honestly, the answer to that question could make all the difference.